As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Save the date. Make it in October to remember as you register and plan to attend the 52nd ICAN Annual Accountants Conference. Date 10th to 14th October 2022. Venue ICC Abuja and Sheraton Abuja. For more inquiries, call 070-501-80222 or 090-625-47263. You can also visit the ICAN website www.icang.org to register. Thank you.
Good evening, professional colleagues. Good evening, friends of our noble institute, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Good evening, our students, prospective members, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure once again to welcome you to another episode of ICAN on Air. This day, Tuesday, the 20th day of the month of September 2022. And it's always a wonderful time hooking up with seasoned professionals to learn and tap every day, every Tuesdays and every Thursdays, packaged together by our great institute. And today, I will be taking us on soft skills to enhance our delivery. And the topic of consideration will be emotional intelligence and productivity. The truth of the matter is we've been talking more of a technical things, but we need some soft skills that will give us easy landing for quality delivery that we can definitely stand out among our peers and counterparts in the profession. And to do justice to this today, I have with me Mr. Olusola Olumide. Mr. Olusola Olumide is an individual with many paths, a social worker, SDG advocate, a teacher, a public speaker, a finance personnel, youth coach, relationship coach, leadership trainer, and author who employed diverse endowments to create positive and enduring impact in the life of individuals, organization, group, and community. A speaker, a resource person, certified behavioral control specialist, emotional therapist, and life coach. To his credit, he has authored several books, not limited to the dynamics of youthful life, strategy for superior performance, intelligence model for holistic progress, intelligence for educator, to mention but a few. A member of the Intelligent Emotional Intelligence Training and Research Institute, Texas, USA. He has served as mentor for the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program and has facilitated numerous career development program for employees, work-life balance, and workforce activation. Currently, the lead consultant for Longitude and Latitude International, based in Lagos, Nigeria today. So we are fully prepared to annex some of the things that we need to equip ourselves for quality delivery as professional accountant to enhance our productivity. And this we'll be doing justice to in a short while. As you all know, commercials is the engine room that makes this program to be aired to you always. And I'll be going on a short break. When I'll be coming in, I'll come in with our guest for today to do justice to the topic. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back and welcome back. It is my pleasure to welcome our guest for today, Mr. Olusola Olumide. Mr. Olumide, good evening and welcome to the show. Can you please unmute yourself and speak, Mr. Olumide? Mr. Olumide, you are muted. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening and welcome to the show, ICAN on Air for this Tuesday.
Good evening, sir, and good evening to all our audience across the globe.
Yeah, my pleasure to have you on board today. And we are talking on a topic that is germane for our productivity, quality delivery as professional, and that is emotional intelligence and productivity. Mr. Olumide, let me start like this. As an emotional intelligence expert, can you please educate our viewers who are globally connected uh, with the historical background of this phenomenon? What is emotional intelligence and why is everyone suddenly interested in this type of intelligence?
Thank you very much, Anchor. Well, in this part of the word emotional intelligence may appear new, but not really new in the Western climb. Um, in Emotional intelligence has actually been around for some time. Moreover, of course, due to nomenclature, name changes, and whatever, the man called Robert Thorndike was the first to write about emotional intelligence. Actually, he tagged it social intelligence as far back as 1937. It was Peter Salovey and John Mayer who eventually gave it the name emotional intelligence, and that was in the 1990s. And it was further popularized by the man called Daniel Goleman. You can't talk about emotional intelligence across the globe now and not mention the man called Daniel Goleman. He actually wrote a book, Emotional Intelligence, Why It Mattered More Than IQ. That book was published in the year 1995. And from there going forward, emotional intelligence actually became like an household name. More so because COVID came, there were a lot of mental health issues. We are going to the virtual world. There were a lot of aggression, people who are aggrieved, and due to the fact that people even have technical skill, it was discovered that when it comes to other areas of life, as we call it social skill, not too many people are well groomed. We pay more attention to the IQ while we neglect what we call EQ, that is emotional quotient, which is also another name for the word emotional intelligence. That is I will make it that short as the background to the concept we call emotional intelligence. Thank you, sir.
Very wonderful way to start talking about emotional intelligence and taking us to the background as far as 1937 when we started with social intelligence, advanced to emotional intelligence. But while you were talking, let me pick you on this. Can you explain to Avia what's IQ? It sounds strange.
Thank you. The word IQ is stand intelligent quotient, and primarily it is arrived at based on your test score. You know, in school, we say, oh, this student is intelligent, this one is not that intelligent, this one is an average student. Intelligence quotient is being determined by your grades, by your scores in school. But going forward, especially in the last 30, 40 years, it has been shown that intelligent people, smart people can at times, they can act dumb. That is not enough to have intelligence, to have a sort of a talent. If you don't have character, if you cannot manage yourself very well, everything you achieve based on your talent can be thrown away at the impulse of uncontrolled emotion. So IQ is graded by the grades in school, but we now realize that success in the real world is not only dependent on what you graduate with, how high your scores were in school. There are students who did very well in school, but because of unbridled emotion, they couldn't control their impulses. They went on to destroy all those exploits.
That's a very good submission, Mr. Olumide, comparing IQ and EQ that we're talking about today. So it's not a function of how intelligent you are, but how you can manage your emotion combined with intelligence will make you a very successful person. Let me ask, are there other type of intelligence aside emotional intelligence? Please educate us.
Yes, there are other types of intelligence. We have spoken about emotional intelligence. At times, we have what we call business intelligence. At times, we have what we call financial intelligence. In fact, a man called Howard Gardner is a psychologist who wrote a book tagged The Frame of Mind. That book actually spoke about multiple intelligences. So that human being, the way we are created and wired, we are created with multiple intelligences. Before now, people used to believe that intelligence is monolithic. That is, you only have one. But now we realize that people can combine 2, 3 talents. Though the one they pay attention to now determines the one they excel in going forward. Somebody can be very good in mathematics, is a form of intelligence. Another person may not be good in mathematics, he may be good in creative writing, is a form of intelligence. Somebody may not even be good in creative writing, he may be good in sports, is a form of intelligence. Somebody can be good in aerobic and dancing, is a form of intelligence. So there are different layers of intelligence. I've spoken about business, I've spoken about financial, some emotional intelligence, some even call it social intelligence. Some call that, another we call adversity intelligence. All these things is only pointing to the fact that you are able to handle an aspect of your life very well. You have a mastery in it. You can excel, profit yourself, and profit your community and the world at large.
That is very wonderful. Talking about the different types of emotional intelligence from business, financial, emotional, adversity. Let me ask this question. But before I go to the question, viewers, please, you have the floor to bring in your contribution, your questions, so that our guest for today, Mr. Olusola Olumide, can do justice to this, because we need some of this soft skill. As you have heard, majority of us are professional who have proficiency in our technical skill, but emotionally, we've been having imbalances that have been affecting our delivery. And as we proceed, you'll see the connectivity of this emotional intelligence and productivity. Mr. Olumide, let me pick you up on this. Can someone be born with emotional intelligence, or it has to be learned? If yes, how early in life can someone start learning emotional intelligence?
Thank you, sir. The question is like asking the question, are leaders born or they are made?
Hmm.
Yes, we have some form of intelligences we're born with. We're not born the same way. But I will want to submit that for emotional intelligence is better. I will agree with learning it than being born with it. Every child born into the world is like a clean slate. And as they grow, depending on who raised them, depending on where they were raised, it goes a long way to determine the kind of adult they become. Now, talking about when to learn it, it ought to be learned early. If you notice, most of the behavioral disorder people exhibit in adulthood is a carryover of unresolved issue from childhood. Yes, people don't just become adult, they begin to throw tantrum. People don't just become adult and they become a sort of a societal malaise. No. Some of the carryover, some of the baggages from childhood to adolescence, and those things were not cured. We begin to see those things play out. So I will agree that even though we're born with certain skills, intelligence, talent, and a sort of character, it is better learned. No matter how deficient your background is, if you learn emotional intelligence, you can turn out to become better. And no matter how good your background may be, you are born with silver spoon, raised in best of environment. If you don't take care of your emotions, the emotions, and in adulthood, that person can still be a sort of misfit for the society. So it is better learned, and it is better we learn it early in life. Thank you, sir.
Very, very, very important. It is better we learn it at the early stage of a life, integrate it with the intelligent quotient that we all possess. Let me ask Mr. Olumide, are there special skill sets as being an emotional intelligent person?
Hello, sir. Can you
Okay,
hear
let me
me?
repeat the question, Mr. Olumide.
Okay,
Yeah,
please
I'm
do.
saying, are there special skill sets or qualification that one needs to be emotionally intelligent?
Yes, there are certain skill sets. Emotional intelligence, just like you said, emotional intelligence is a soft skill. It's part of what we call employability skills. And there are traits we exhibit that reveals to those looking at us that we are emotionally intelligent. Take, for example, we live in the world, individual, family, employee, boss, leader. First of all, we are humans. And because we are humans, we come face to face with the vicissitudes of life. No matter who we are, challenges of life will confront us. So how we're able to handle those challenges will determine some of the skill sets we need to really reveal we're emotionally intelligent. Number one, we have the case of stress management. Another thing, somebody with self-confidence and high self-esteem. It shows the person is emotionally intelligent. He doesn't have insecurity issue. Positive personal changes. If you are assertive, if you're able to manage your anxiety, if you are empathetic, that's what we call somebody with empathy. we will know that this person is emotionally intelligent. Also, decision making. When we are sound in decision making, you will discover that this person is emotionally intelligent. Also, when you have the motivation or the drive to keep going, is a form of emotional intelligence. Also, leadership skill. If you look at it very well, yes, people come into power by different means. Maybe through election, through coup d'etat, but in a real sense of a transformative leadership, beneath it is emotional intelligence. When you live to lift others up, not to drive people, if you are not a tyrant, I need to say that people can be knowledgeable, but they can be knowledgeable despots. People are afraid to relate with them. They are just managing them. So these are some of the skills: commitment, ethics, anger management, stress management are things, ability to recover, optimism, resilience, grit, determination, tenacity are evidences that point to the fact that the person is emotionally intelligent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my guest, who has been doing justice to this. Before I pick my question from here, let me quickly recognize the question from Mr. Fagbola Temitope, all the way from Ibadan. He's asking me that, what my guest, what's the position? What position can we place native intelligence of our forefathers who doesn't pass through the four wall of classroom?
Thank you very much. Native intelligence is very good and great. And go and check those people. Some of these things I've mentioned, we can also call it native intelligence. They go for emotional intelligence. However, native intelligence does not always translate into emotional intelligence. Somebody can be a very good hunter. It is native intelligence. In those days, they don't need a wristwatch. When the cock crows, they know it is 4 a.m. It is native intelligence. But because you know the time of the day does not necessarily mean you're emotionally intelligent. Part of the native skills or intelligence can be seen as emotional intelligence. Native intelligence are very great, but not all can be classified as emotional intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will be taking this because just while you were giving your explanation, you try to delve into mental health, considering this emotional intelligence. And I just want to ask, is there any nexus between emotional intelligence and mental health?
Thank you. The answer is capital yes. If you're emotionally intelligent, the probability is very low that you have mental health illness. Our guest last time did wonderfully well, and I kept ruminating over some of the things he said. People who are low in emotional intelligence are highly prone to mental health illness. Behind every behavioral disorder is an unresolved issue. When somebody has a problem with insecurity, he has low self-esteem. If he rises to a position of leadership, it will traumatize those under him because he's living in fear. I don't want so and so to outshine me. The other day, it was my subordinate. Everybody was applauding, only for the subordinate to get back to the office and begin to suffer what he knows next nothing to about. So, mental health issue, in fact, I usually say emotional intelligence is a knowledge route to solving mental health cases. Yes, if you have grit, if you have determination, ability to recover from setback, from bereavement and failure, you won't fall into depression. When you're optimistic and you have high sense of humor, almost nothing jolts you. You don't become a tyrant to your wife or to your children because there was a business failure. In fact, I need to drop this. When you hear that people commit suicide, I want our audience to get this from me today. Suicide is never an act of courage. It's an act of cowardice. I say that again. Suicide is never an act of courage. It's an act of cowardice. Anybody who commits suicide is somebody that doesn't want to face his problem. He lacks resilience. He lacks grit. He lacks optimism. He lacks hope. So when there is emotional intelligence, the chances of mental health illness will be very low. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think you've been able to do justice to the question raised by Fagbola from Ibadan. And I think I'll be able to pick from there that emotional intelligence is the knowledge route to mental health. So anyone who is emotionally balanced, emotionally stable, who has the emotional intelligence, definitely will not suffer any mental illness. I have one of our guests, Melufa, asking, how do you improve your emotional intelligence? Are there activity one should involve in for his or her emotional intelligence to be improved?
Thank you. Beautiful enough, emotional intelligence is a skill that can be learned. Just the way we learn how to drive. We don't come into the world and suddenly we become a professional driver. Emotional intelligence can be learned. Like we're having today, this is a form of training. So we need to learn. Actually, every human being, we are emotional being. Emotion drives people, and it is people that drive performance. When our emotional intelligence is not handy, our behavior becomes awkward. We need to learn it, go for training on emotional intelligence. Organization can inculcate it into their policy where staff will be trained on emotional intelligence. Not only that, building good relationship, a good support system. When you are in the midst of people who are optimistic, they rub on you. You also become optimistic. When you are in the midst of pessimists, they infect you with pessimism. So you need to learn it, learn about optimism, learn about resilience. We can also learn what we call self-care. Self-care is about talking about yourself, taking care of yourself. We can learn, we can get involved in exercise. You go out for a walk, somebody walk you out, you walk out with somebody. These are ways we need to learn. We learn about mindfulness. Those are different aspects of what we call emotional intelligence or social intelligence. Mindfulness, optimism, you learn them. When you learn them, each time you are at a cross junction, your brain connects with your mind to tell you the present state of your emotion. Emotion like anger, happiness, anxiety, they are emotion, and those emotions are data telling us what you are feeling per time. However, if you cannot name what you are feeling per time, the tendency is either you are going to misbehave. If you know what your emotion is saying, then you can put it under check, you can address it, and tell your emotion what to do. When things go wrong, we don't need to go wrong with them. That is having knowledge with emotion. Thank you.
Very wonderful delivery. And I have been guesting today Mr. Olusola Olumide, who has been talking to us on emotional intelligence and productivity. I expect more of our viewers to react and give us more insight. You mentioned emotion drives people, and people drives organization for quality delivery. And while you were discussing at the beginning, talking to us about the types of emotional intelligence, spoke about business intelligence, financial intelligence, adversity intelligence. I want to ask this question. How does emotional intelligence interact with business intelligence?
Thank you, sir. There is a body of knowledge which makes us realize that when we are emotionally stable, our thinking will be straight. You know what? We are not only physical being, we are emotional being. Incidentally, our brain can be seen during operation, our mind cannot be seen. However, our mind regulates the functionality of our brain. Now, when somebody is having a turbulent mind, he can't reason well. In fact, according to World Economic Forum, emotional intelligence is one of the top 10 skills needed for professional success from 2020 going forward. That tells you that beyond the forecast, beyond the environment or the climate of business, you are able to reason optimally. You want to venture into a particular business, you are able to sit down and count the cost, the pros and the cons. You are not acting on impulse. It's not just that they say, it is pure water that is selling. Let me quickly rush into pure water. You want to look at the immediate, medium, and long-term possibility and the sustainability of such a business. When the mind is in trouble, a man cannot think. If you know anybody who projects very well, who think creatively, go and check. It's because their mind was at rest. So, if business intelligence will really be business intelligence, we dabble into business, we make forecasts, either financial or inventory or what have you, we must be in the best frame of mind. So, business intelligence will always go along with emotional intelligence. You don't just take, for example, I'm supposed to have a contract with you, and I walk into your office. I didn't greet you. I care less about who you are. I just say, see, why are you people delaying us? I've come here with my presentation. I have just 50 minutes. Please, I have some other things to attend to. Don't disturb me. If you know you are not ready for business, why are you bringing me here? No matter how good my presentation is, I'm sure you're not going to give me that contract.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I said, no matter how intelligent a man is, if emotional intelligence is not handy, he's not going to go far.
That is.
You also don't want to employ somebody who will divide your team. He's very sound technically, but team spirit is not there. It's always causing trouble in the office. One day you offload him. You bring somebody who will work cooperatively, because it's not a one-man show. You need other people to make your business succeed. So emotional intelligence will always be necessary as far as business intelligence is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olumide. And let me especially recognize all our viewers who are connected from the west to the east to the south, to the north, and from diaspora, connected globally. And, joining us to have understanding of what it takes to have emotional intelligence and for productivity. And you nail it by making us understand that among the 10 top skills in this digital era, because on this program we've been talking more of digitalization, because that's the intake thing now, that emotional intelligence is one of the skills. But I want to ask this: are there? Can one say? Pardon me. Can one say? Is it possible for someone that lack emotional intelligence? I'm bringing it from the perspective of a professional accountant now, to say that, is it possible that one that lacks emotional intelligence can have financial losses?
Yes. Thank you once again. We also spoke about financial intelligence the other time. If you look at it, you see that the common denominator is intelligence, which is very, very necessary. The person may not only suffer financial loss, it can also suffer health losses. Yes. Why do you think there are people who goes into staking? Okay, take for example, people went into MMM. Go and check almost everybody who went into that scheme. For those who are knowledgeable enough, maybe you are the first set of people who went into it and galvanized other people to come and pay them. Gambling, maybe to the best of my knowledge, is not a business. And somebody feels, okay, can you bring 1 naira and I'll give you 1 million? Somebody phoned you and said, don't worry, invest in this business. In 45 minutes, we'll give you 100% return. That is not realistic with the present situation. If you are not thinking optimally, the person could be drowned, could be caged in. All these things are function of our thinking pattern. And that is why, for me as a person, if you get involved in certain business and you suffer loss, I don't pity you. I ask you, how realistic do you think the business can be? What were you thinking? What was on your mind before engaging in this type of business? So the person will not only suffer financial losses. Yes, some could, maybe 1 out of 10, they could do things unreasonable. And that is why we are also being told that risk return kind of analysis. You look at the risk, then you determine, okay, this is the risk I want to take in order to have this type of return. So if you don't do that analysis very well, or you do your cost benefit analysis, you just feel anything goes. Let me just put my money here. I hear that people are making money. Why do you think accountants offer business advisory services? This is what to do, this is not what to do. If you go into this business, it will impair your profit margin. If you go here, you suffer loss. So it's because of their training, their thinking, and the functionality of their mind. So if you are not emotionally intelligent, you will do a lot of things amiss. Which will not only result into financial losses, it can result into health, even life loss. Thank you.
You can tell everyone connected that accountant, as far as I know, if you know the rudiment of undergoing our exam, you know you must be emotionally balanced, emotionally stable for you to be able to write the exam, come out. And that's why when we come out, we provide those advices for you to make sure that you succeed in life. While we proceed, Ido is asking a question, Mr. Olumide. Is there any correlation between emotional intelligence and intellectual sound mind?
Thank you, sir. The answer is yes. Actually, emotional intelligence is connected with soundness of mind. I don't want to say intellectually alone. The way the mind functions, our mind is a meaning-making machine. The mind is MMM. If you don't remember MMM. The mind galvanizes the way the brain functions. Your mind is the unseen element of our brain that determines how our mind works. Do you know that somebody can be educated and has a tightened mind? Let me drop this maxim for our listeners. The level of our reasoning cannot transcend our level of civilization. The way we reason is a function of our civilization. So the mind can be cultivated. The mind can be strengthened. The mind can be empowered. The mind can equally be weakened. There are people who are educated. That's why I say it's not only intellectual mind. Emotional intelligence serves the mind in all ramifications. Intellectual mind, emotional mind, religious mind, whatever kind of mind, emotional intelligence is a support system to the mind. And that is why if your mind is not sound, in the law courts, they'll say, sorry, it was of unsound mind. I remember when you do business law, before you enter into business with anybody, it's not a minor and is of a sound mind. when the mind is not sound in how do I put it now? In health balance, when somebody is of unsound mind, that person is having issue with insanity.
Thank you
It's not
very much.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Olumide. Before I pick my question, I can see my Oga all the way from Abuja, Dr. Abel, as saying, and he's picking up on this question that investing in social capital or relationship is the act of emotional intelligence. The question is, do you agree with this? He went further by saying, how useful is the advice that people must learn to listen more than they speak in discussing emotional intelligence? You know, he's a doctor. He's coming from two sides, two-barrel gun to do justice to it. Over to you, Mr. Lumide.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. Thank you, Dr. Hussein. Your assertion is 101% correct.
Ooh.
Relationship is the 21st century currency. We call it social capital. It is often said that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Then I add this to the submission. Why go fast when you are not going to go far? Now, social capital is non-negotiable. And we must cultivate. In fact, when you have good support system, your emotional intelligence will be in good position. As human beings, we have been created as social beings. We gravitate and relate with other people. COVID taught everybody that you can't do your life all alone. When you are alone, even the only rich put it, he said, woe unto him that is alone. When he falls, he has no other person to lift him up. So I agree with Dr. Hussein, and I want to align myself with what he has said. It's good to listen. Actually, listening is a skill. Listening is a skill. That's why they call it listening skill. When people listen, you're able to get better perspective. When you don't listen to hear the import of the message, you jump into conclusions, suddenly your submission will be wrong. You know, there are people who listen to respond. They don't listen to understand. Actually, it's a form of emotional illiteracy. When you don't listen to understand, only you listen to respond, is a form of emotional illiteracy. Such people will fall into a lot of mistakes, which they will later come back and say sorry to. So we need to cultivate that skill, listening skill, and it's a form of emotional intelligence. Thank you, sir.
Very wonderful submission, and I was able to pick that relationship is the 21st, the currency of the 21st century, and also a special capital. You just said it. Why go fast when you know you won't go far? There is a thing that you must definitely put in there, at least as a caution. Mr. Olumide, while we proceed, I want to ask, are there qualities in employee that suggest that he or she is emotionally intelligent?
Yes, sir. There is great correlation between the way employee behaves with whether it's emotionally intelligent or not. Emotional intelligence can be as simple as courtesy. Good relationship with other people. You know what? Because the way emotion drives us, when you interested in going to the office, because of the robustness of the relationship that exists, go and check it. You almost keep motivated. Yes, when you are always excited to go to office, because of the kind of boss you have, the kind of subordinate you have, the kind of colleagues you have, you work together. You know, in synergy, it is said that 2 + 2 = 5. Yes, when somebody is courteous, when somebody is cool, calm, and collected, of course, respect is part of it. when somebody can volunteer, he doesn't dodge task. When somebody is selfless, you want to pick that kind of a person. When somebody has a good sense of humor, he's not wearing a long face, he's not wearing his problem on his sleeves. You want that kind of employees around you. People who can collaborate with others to get the goal achieved. Those are some of the things you see in an employee that will make you know that this one is emotionally intelligent. Thank you, sir.
Very wonderful submission. I can see Badru throwing out the words from Badmos from Mr. Lumide to say, when you learn to respond and you don't listen to understand, it is emotional illiteracy. Thank you very much, Badmos. And while you're talking of the qualities that we should expect from employee, you talk about being cool, being calm, being collected, selfless, have that humor, a collaborator, good team player. Once someone start exhibiting this, I'm sure it will rub off on him and the delivery will just be there. That's just on the part of the employee. Let me take it to the level of the board. Can you give us an insight as how board and businesses can identify strong leaders with emotional intelligence?
Thank you, sir. I usually have this magazine. For every responsibility you dodge, you lose the experience that comes with that responsibility. Yes, you know there are people, they are loafers. That's what they dodge responsibility. That's what we call presenteeism. You know, that's what we call absenteeism. Absenteeism is not coming to office. Presenteeism is being in the office but not doing the work you are employed to do. Yes. And you know what? When people dodge responsibility, they think they are smart. In the final analysis, they change themselves. If you don't know, okay, you have not worked in inventory before, or corporate affairs or corporate communication, you have not worked in audit, you have not worked in financial reporting, they say, no, I don't want to go there. The task is too difficult. It's too demanding. After 10 years in that office, you have only mastered one unit. Now they are looking for a leader who is an all-rounder. Even though the person came 3, 4, 5 years ago, except we are playing sentiment. And go and look at people who dodge responsibility. When they even become leaders, they shock people under them. They feel you cannot outshine me, you cannot outsmart me. The people listening to us, I know we have 1 or 2 people you have worked with. You never pray to work with such people again in your life. And there are people you have worked with, you enjoy. When you wanted to part, you were crying. So leaders, without playing eye service, diligence, determination, hard work, collaboration, will set an employee apart from the rest. And on the part of leadership, if you want to choose, we need to invest in people. You know, I usually put it this way. Loyalty is the dividend you receive for investing in people's life. Loyalty is the dividend you receive in investing in people's life. If you don't invest in people, you are looking for loyalty, you only get sycophants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lumide. And I think our viewers can pick that clip and say, for every responsibility you dodge or you avoid, you're actually losing the experience attributable for that particular responsibility. And if you want loyalty, invest in people, because that is the product, that is the dividend of investing in people. As we are coasting knowing fully well that time is not always our friend, I want to pick this up, and I know you'll do justice to it in a short while. We have learned of the stages of team development, talking about forming, storming, norming, performing, terminating. How does the team remain productive at every stage in its development?
Thank you. I want to start from the word bonding, or let's say from the word forming. We can form and not necessarily bond. Now, it takes bonding to go, because organization is not a one-man show. And as is often been said, that everything rises and falls on leadership. If you have a mind of building a robust team, honesty, trust, oneness, openness, and ability to be vulnerable with each other. We can be vulnerable and yet we are authentic. Take, for example, you are my boss, Mr. Sheson, and I've always followed you. You've known me to be hardworking. Then suddenly I say, Mr. Sheson, sorry, I'm having a headache. I'm not feeling fine. You're not going to lash out on me. You may even be the one, when I report in the office the following day, you say, hey, hello, Olusola, you are supposed to be in the clinic by now. Please, quickly go. We need you. Imagine how excited and how happy I will be because you have preserved my humanity. You didn't treat me like an animal. I will bond with you. Storming, you can a sort of intrude into my privacy because I know you to be somebody who wants my progress and advancement on the career ladder. I won't be looking at you and be murmuring and say, he has come again. And you know what? When people are not interested, we may coerce them. We won't get the best from them. Emotional intelligence is a key to the forming, to the bonding, to the storming, as far as making every stage to count. Because we need everybody at every stage. The higher we go, the tougher the work may become. But we know where we are coming from and we know where we are going. And when the vision and the goal is clear, and when you make the people under you to own the goal, you are not putting the goal under your feet as if it's only you. Use us to work and you take the profit all alone. No, let them own it. They see it as their own goal. They see the achievement as their own personal achievement. They will go all out to get the work done. But when they discover that the team lead or a member of the team, there is a divide and rule 2 against 3, that these 3 people being seen everywhere, the rest of what they are using, they care less whether we are alive or we are not alive. They only want the work done. I won't give my best. Anyone will not give his or her best. So, storming, forming, bonding, emotional intelligence is key. Vulnerability with one another, openness, sheer value will go a long way to make everybody be at the optimal level at every stage. Thank you, sir.
Very wonderful, Mr. Olumide. And before I pick my last question, I've always been, contesting with time. And I think time itself can look for way. Maybe we'll go and do timing intelligence so that it can give me more time that will go beyond this. But let me quickly take just a question. She's asking, how do you manage someone with low emotional intelligence, either as a co-worker or even a boss? I want that in 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. It is easier to manage a colleague who is not emotionally intelligent. Laterally, you're on the same level. It's more difficult to manage your boss because many things will be wrong. For somebody not to be emotionally intelligent, go and check. That person may have issue with uncontrolled anger. That person may have issue with insecurity. It may have issue with what we call self-esteem. So low self-esteem. If care is not taken, that person may have poor relationship management. That person may have behavioral disorder. That person may be given to bullying. Therefore, you need respect. You need to stoop to conquer. I usually tell people, never correct your boss in public. No matter what you know, no matter who you are. Please, for your own sake, don't tell your boss he's wrong openly. It could tantamount to career suicide. Be patient, be humble. You stoop down. Even when you have idea, take it to him. Say, okay, what about this? What about this? Even though he doesn't have any idea, let him own that your idea. Tell him, okay, what do you think? Don't jump ahead, though. Don't go and share your, my guy, he doesn't know anything. If I don't do it, he will not do it. After you have done it, take it back to him. Let him be the one that will release it to the public so that you don't die before your time. Career-wise, rather. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Time is not our friend. But on a parting shot, I want to ask this question. Considering the technical training of a professional accountant like us who are connected, do you still need emotional intelligence? I just want you to reiterate this in 1 minute.
Thank you very much. The answer is yes, and I want to say a big thank you to the Institute. I remember I stumbled on a question on emotional intelligence. Somebody was marking, somebody I know was marking November diet. It was on emotional intelligence. That shows that the Institute knows that even with your technical skill, you need emotional intelligence. You are not only an accountant, probably you are a father, you are a mother, you are a leader, you are a community whatever, you are a sibling to somebody, you are a child to somebody. It does not stop at counting figures and balancing account alone. When you are rude to your husband, you have problem with your husband. When your wife is nagging you at home, the figure you know may not eventually balance because of unrest of mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olumide, and it's been a very wonderful time guesting you on our show today, talking of emotional intelligence and productivity, and very wonderful way to end the show. You are nagging with your husband at home, you are fighting with your wife, even the figure you know, accounts will not balance because all you need is that emotional intelligence embedded in your intelligent quotient, and that will give you a quality delivery. Thank you very much, Mr. Olusola Olumide, for being our guest on the show today. And to all
Thank
our
you, sir.
viewers, it's been a very wonderful and interactive session. I can see messages booming in, very educative, quite informative, very insightful. Thank you very much for making our time. But before I go, I want to state that the essence of putting this program together is for you to patronize the Institute by bringing your services, your goods for patronage. This is where you emotionally, intelligently promote your goods and services to the audience globally for them to know what you're doing. And you can always contact them at the corporate department with Mrs. Olabi and okay, as we've been projected. And on the final note, the door is knocking for the 52nd annual accountant conference of our great institute coming up between the 10th and 14th of October 2022 at the International Conference Center and Sheraton Hotels in Abuja. The topic of discussion is adopting sustainability for economic prosperity. I hope you'll be there because it's going to be another session to galvanize emotional intelligence, skills to enhance the technical topics that has been prepared together by the organizer. And not just that alone, you need to be part of the World Congress of Accountants coming up November 18th to 21st at the Joe World Convention Center in India. On this note, I will be winding up today. It's been a very interactive and educative session. This day, Tuesday, the 20th day of the month of September. I remain your anchor to connect back with you on Thursday. Olusegun Okwade. See you on Thursday for another insightful and educative topic. Bye for now.